From the heights of rock and roll royalty to the quiet sounds of silence, Stevie Nicks has lived a life as enchanting as her music. But behind the flowing scarves and magical persona lies a reality that may surprise you. Once the queen of Fleetwood Mac, captivating millions with her singing and beautiful words, Stevie has seen it all: fame, sadness, loss, and change. As she enters the later stages of her life, her world looks very different. While her spirit remains unbreakable, whispers of loneliness and the toll of decades in the business paint a sad picture. How does she spend her days now? And what does the future hold for the famous songstress? Keep watching to see how Past Paradise reveals Stevie Nicks' hidden story, from her poor beginnings to her life now. The birth of a star. Stevie's early life. Born Stephanie Lynn Nicks in Phoenix, Arizona on May 26, 1948, Stevie Nicks was destined for a life deeply entwined with creativity and music. Her grandpa, country music performer Aaron Jess A.J. Nicks Sr., influenced her early years by identifying and developing her natural ability. By the time Stevie was 4 years old, she was learning the basics of melody and harmony while singing duets with her grandpa. Because of her father's work as a business executive, her family moved often, exposing her to various cultural influences while fostering her flexibility. Music became her compass, offering inspiration and comfort in the ongoing turmoil. Stevie started creating her songs and playing in local bands to showcase her distinct voice and develop her skills as a teenager. She was passionate about music and often dedicated hours to performing her craft, taking inspiration from the rock and folk icons of the day. Stevie studied speech communication at San Jose State University after graduating high school. She ultimately made the audacious choice to drop out of college and follow her goals, since she was determined to pursue a music career. This crucial decision signaled the start of a path that would make her one of the most recognizable personalities in rock and roll history. Her music's origins. The influence of her grandfather. The beginning of Stevie Nicks' musical career was greatly influenced by her grandpa, country music performer Aaron Jess A.J. Nicks Sr., who saw her natural potential early on. Born into a musical family, Stevie's grandpa served as her first instructor and taught her the craft of singing and performing. By age 4, she was learning the nuances of rhythm, melody, and harmony while singing duets with him. In addition to fostering her love of music, these early encounters gave her a profound respect for song-based storytelling. Stevie was profoundly impacted by A.J. Nicks' love of music and his commitment to his craft, which influenced her creative sensibilities and motivated her to seek a musical career. Stevie's curiosity and creativity were stimulated by her grandfather's tales and songs, which she often listened to for hours as a child. She felt empowered to pursue her musical potential because of his support and faith in her skills. Stevie's remarkable career was built on the foundation her grandpa created, which shaped her writing style and methodology. Stevie continues to pay tribute to her origins of her craft with each note she sings and each song she writes, ensuring that A.J. Nicks' legacy endures in her music. The Nomad. Being raised in a moving household. As a result of her father, Jess Nicks' work as a business executive, Stevie Nicks' family moved around a lot throughout her early years. Stevie was born in Phoenix, Arizona on May 26, 1948, and had a nomadic childhood, residing in locales such as Albuquerque, El Paso, and Salt Lake City. Although this nomadic way of life had drawbacks, such as the inability to make enduring friendships, Stevie was introduced to various settings and cultures that would eventually shape her musical taste and aesthetic sensibility. Stevie found comfort in music, which became her constant friend, and her family remained close despite the repeated changes. Her grandpa, Aaron Jess A.J. Nicks Sr., fostered her music ability by training her to sing and perform, while her mother, Barbara Nicks, supported her artistic endeavors. Stevie gained resilience and flexibility from these early experiences, which would help her in her future profession. Because Stevie often used songwriting to process her feelings and experiences, the frequent moves also encouraged a profound sense of reflection. Even though it was difficult, Stevie's nomadic way of life helped shape her distinct viewpoint and narrative skills, which would later become defining characteristics of her music. Her early years as a nomad helped mold her into the person and artist the world would eventually know and respect. The creative spark, songwriting in high school. Stevie Nicks' journey began as a composer and performer in high school, setting the groundwork for her remarkable career. Stevie's love for music grew during this period, and she started composing her songs using inspiration from her surroundings and life experiences. Even early, she stood out for a distinct voice and literary sensibility. Because she participated in school functions and neighborhood concerts, Stevie's high school setting allowed her to display her skills. She joined her first band, The Changing Times, and learned much about working with others and performing live. Her songwriting during these early years revealed her contemplative temperament and capacity to convert feelings into lyrics, a talent that would eventually define her. Exposure to the music of legendary performers like the Beatles, Janis Joplin, and Joni Mitchell further stoked Stevie's creative flame and encouraged her to find her unique voice. Stevie stayed committed to improving her art despite difficulties, juggling her studies with her growing musical aspirations. Stevie's identity as a composer and performer emerged during these crucial high school years, laying the groundwork for her future success in the music business. Giving up on college dreams, selecting music over academics. One crucial decision that shaped Stevie Nicks' destiny was her choice to drop out of college and pursue a music career. Stevie studied speech communication at San Jose State University after graduating high school. Her major decision demonstrated her innate charm and interpersonal abilities, which would later be helpful to her as a performer. However, although Stevie loved learning, her true passion was music. She kept writing songs and performing while she was in college, often discovering that her artistic endeavors drew her more than her scholastic obligations. She reunited with Lindsey Buckingham, a musician she had known in high school. They started working together, and there was no denying their musical connection. Stevie took the risk of quitting college to focus entirely on music after seeing the potential of their collaboration. Making this decision came with difficulties, since it meant entering an unknown future without the security of a degree. But Stevie persisted because of her willpower and love for what she did. She demonstrated that occasionally following one's heart may result in fantastic success when she decided to forego academics in favor of music, starting a path that would eventually propel her to international fame. The Buckingham Knicks Era, Destiny and the Duo. Stevie Nicks' life underwent a sea change during the Buckingham Knicks period, which paved the way for her eventual ascent to fame. Stevie got back in touch with Lindsey Buckingham, a gifted guitarist and singer she'd known in high school in the late 1960s. Due to their mutual love of music, they formed Buckingham Knicks, a pair that developed into a creative alliance on both a personal and professional level. Their self-titled album, which featured Lindsey's complex guitar work and Stevie's beautiful lyricism, was released in 1973. The record was a significant turning point in Stevie's career, even though it did not become a financial hit. Fleetwood Mac drummer Mick Fleetwood, looking for fresh talent to bring the band back to life, was drawn to the record's distinctive folk-rock fusion. A new era for Fleetwood Mac began with the arrival of Stevie and Lindsey, a fascinating combination due to their connection on and off stage. In addition to being a phase in Stevie's career, the Buckingham Knicks era was a time of personal development and creative advancement. She refined her technique, created her style, and established the groundwork for the enduring music throughout this period. Despite its difficulties, this collaboration was crucial in launching Stevie into the public eye and making her an influential figure in the music business. Fleetwood Mac, the moment of change. When Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham joined Fleetwood Mac, a British-American rock group going through a metamorphosis in 1975, their careers took a massive turn for the better. The pair's work on their record, Buckingham Knicks, had pleased the band's drummer, Mick Fleetwood, who encouraged them to join. Since their participation added a new element to the band's music, this choice was a turning moment for Stevie and Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac's music gained depth from Stevie's ethereal vocals and lyricism, while Lindsey's production knowledge and guitar prowess enhanced the group's already potent lineup. Hits like Rhiannon and Landslide, both written by Stevie, were included on their commercially successful first album, Fleetwood Mac, which was released in 1975. But the band's 1977 album, Rumors, was the one that made them famous all over the world. The record, which detailed the band's relationship and personal hardships, became one of the best-selling albums ever and received praise from critics and several honors. The song Dreams demonstrated Stevie's capacity to transform inner suffering into enduring beauty. At a pivotal point in Stevie's career, joining Fleetwood Mac turned her from a gifted musician into a rock star and laid the groundwork for her long-lasting influence in the music business. Rumors, a work of art created out of heartache. One of the most famous but turbulent periods in music history was the development of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors in 1977. This album was a significant personal and professional milestone for Stevie Nicks. The band was dealing with serious interpersonal issues at the time. Stevie and Lindsey Buckingham had broken up, and other band members were going through breakups and personal difficulties. Stevie wrote some of the album's most memorable songs by directing her sadness into her songs, despite the emotional turmoil. Fleetwood Mac's sole #1 success in the US was Dreams, a song she wrote in only 10 minutes at Sly Stone's studio. Millions of listeners found resonance in the lyrics, which were melancholy and contemplative, capturing the essence of love and sorrow. Band member tensions were high, and many hours were spent in the studio throughout the Rumors recording process. But the ultimate product was a work of art that went beyond their hardships. With singles like Go Your Way, The Chain, and Don't Stop, the album gained several Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, and went on to become one of the best-selling albums of all time. Rumors cemented Stevie's status as a rock star by demonstrating her capacity to turn suffering into art that would inspire future generations. Dreams and Actualities, Stevie's ascent to stardom. Stevie Nicks experienced both the harsh reality of the music business and the realization of her fantasies during her ascent to prominence. Stevie, who joined Fleetwood Mac with Lindsey Buckingham in 1975, immediately rose to prominence in the group. She distinguished herself as a singular force in rock music by captivating listeners with her delicate voice, beautiful lyrics, and compelling stage presence. The world first heard Stevie's skill in 1975 when Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album was released, and songs like Rhiannon and Landslide quickly became hits. But her reputation as a rock star was cemented with the release of the 1977 album Rumors. Hits like Dreams, which drove the album's enormous popularity, propelled Stevie and Fleetwood Mac to international fame. However, the band dealt with behind-the-scenes personal issues, such as Stevie's split from Lindsey Buckingham. Despite being emotionally draining, these difficulties inspired some of the band's most well-known songs. Fans found Stevie approachable and inspirational because of her ability to express her feelings via songs. Stevie navigated the difficulties of being a rock star while dealing with the demands of the limelight as her celebrity increased. Notwithstanding the problems, her steadfast commitment to her work and her capacity for audience interaction guaranteed her status as one of the most significant artists of her day. Creating her iconic image, the mystical persona. As big a part of Stevie Nicks' legacy as her music is her distinctive appearance, which has enthralled audiences for decades with its mystical and ethereal character. Stevie's styles, which combines Victorian and bohemian elements, embodies her uniqueness and creative energy. From the shawls and platform boots to the flowing chiffon gowns, Stevie's fashion choices represent her as the queen of rock and roll. Stevie's interest in mysticism, mythology, and the paranormal molded her identity and impacted her singing and clothing choices. Her ability to incorporate her mystical interests into her music is shown by songs like Gypsy, which invokes notions of freedom and self-discovery, and Rhiannon, which draws inspiration from Welsh mythology. She is a captivating personality in the rock industry because of her stage appearance, which is marked by elegant gestures and an almost otherworldly air. In addition to inspiring several artists who respect Stevie's genuineness and inventiveness, her appearance has impacted fashion trends. She's maintained her style despite celebrity demands, employing it as a means of self-expression and public engagement. Stevie's capacity to go beyond the realm of music and establish herself as a cultural icon whose effect is still felt today is shown by her ethereal presence. Belladonna, the inception of an individual icon. Stevie Nicks' first solo album, Belladonna, was released in 1981, marking the start of a daring new chapter in her career. Stevie wanted to explore her uniqueness as an artist while still a member of Fleetwood Mac, and Belladonna provided the ideal setting for her to do so. The album became an immediate hit, reaching multi-platinum status at the top of the Billboard 200 list. Edge of 17, Leather and Lace, and Stop Dragging My Heart Around, a duet with Tom Petty, were among its well-known songs. These songs demonstrated Stevie's flexibility by fusing her distinctive lyrical poetry with rock, pop, and folk elements. Stevie's reputation as a solo artist was cemented by the album's popularity, which brought her praise from critics and a loyal following. She was even proclaimed the reigning queen of rock and roll by Rolling Stone after the album's publication. Behind the scenes, Stevie put her all into each track of Belladonna, a labor of love. The album is a timeless classic because its themes of love, grief, and perseverance strike a profound chord with listeners. Stevie's solo path began with Belladonna, demonstrating her ability to succeed on her own while still making contributions to Fleetwood Mac. Her professional milestones still show her skill and lasting impact on the music industry. An era-defining song, Edge of 17. The song Edge of 17, included on Stevie Nicks' first solo album, Belladonna, in 1981, has stood the test of time and is now considered one of her most famous compositions. The killing of John Lennon and the passing of Stevie's uncle Jonathan served as the inspiration for the song, which was written amid a time of profound personal and professional change. The title, which was inspired by a discussion with Tom Petty's wife, Jane, who mispronounced the phrase age of 17 as edge of 17, perfectly sums up the track's melancholy and introspective mood. The song became an anthem of resiliency and self-discovery thanks to Waddy Wachell's driving guitar riff and Stevie's strong, raspy vocals. Full of passion and vivid imagery, the lyrics delve deeply into themes of time passing, love, and loss. In addition to showcasing Stevie's songwriting skills, Edge of 17 cemented her reputation as a solo artist who could produce music distinct from her work with Fleetwood Mac. Because of its ongoing appeal, the song is a mainstay of her live performances, captivating crowds. Many musicians have sampled and covered Edge of 17 throughout the years, solidifying its pivotal moment in rock history and demonstrating Stevie's ongoing impact. Partnerships with legends, Tom Petty and beyond. Collaborations with some of the most well-known musicians have enhanced Stevie Nicks' career, demonstrating her ability and capacity to work with musicians from a variety of genres. Her relationship with Tom Petty, whom she liked, was one of her most prominent collaborations. Stevie's first solo album, Belladonna, included their duet, Stop Dragging My Heart Around, which became a huge smash and cemented their artistic synergy. Stevie often cited Tom Petty as a mentor who helped her navigate the difficulties of being a successful solo performer. Stevie described Tom as one of her closest confidants, indicating that their bond went beyond music. In addition to Tom Petty, Stevie worked with Eagles musician Don Henley on the poignant ballad Leather and Lace, another outstanding song by Belladonna. These collaborations were noteworthy because of her ability to skillfully combine the unique styles of various musicians with her lyrical lyrics. In addition, Stevie collaborated with Prince, co-writing the song Stand Back, which was influenced by his song Little Red Corvette. Prince's influence gave Stevie's music a distinctive edge and demonstrated her versatility. These partnerships strengthened Stevie's standing as a musician who could cross borders while broadening her creative possibilities. Her collaborations with legendary artists are still hailed as pivotal in her career, demonstrating her lasting influence on the music business. The challenges of celebrity, substance abuse, and rehabilitation. While Stevie Nicks has seen great success in the music business, her hardships, most notably her battle with addiction, have also cast a shadow. The strains of celebrity and the rigorous lifestyle of a rock star caused Stevie to struggle throughout the 1980s, when her career was at its peak. Her cocaine addiction became a serious problem that had an impact on her relationships and health. Stevie's been candid about the toll this time had on her, explaining how her drug misuse started as a coping mechanism for the constant pressures of recording and touring, but finally got out of hand. A pivotal moment in her life occurred when she decided to seek therapy at the Betty Ford Center in 1986. Although Stevie was able to overcome her cocaine addiction, She subsequently struggled with her dependence on Klonopin, a prescription drug used to treat anxiety. Years passed during her second battle before she sought assistance again and emerged stronger. Because of her openness about her experiences, Stevie's become a relatable person who encourages people to face their difficulties and pursue healing. Her tenacity shows her strength and will to regain her health and well-being. Stevie now views these hardships as teaching moments that have influenced her path, highlighting the need for self-care and tenacity. The cost of notoriety. Individual giving-ups. Stevie Nicks has publicly stated throughout her career that she had to make considerable personal sacrifices to become a rock and roll legend. There was little place for a traditional personal life due to the unrelenting demands of fame, which included frequent touring, recording schedules, and public scrutiny. Stevie has often discussed her work's impact on her relationships, especially her well-known partnership with Joe Walsh, Don Henley, and Lindsey Buckingham. Despite their profound influence, the demands of her lifestyle and the difficulties of preserving closeness in the public eye caused tension in these relationships. Another period of emotional complexity was Stevie's short marriage to Kim Anderson in 1983, which followed the untimely loss of her closest friend, Robin Anderson. In addition to her interpersonal connections, Stevie's demanding schedule took a toll on her physical and mental health, which exacerbated her addiction issues. Stevie has voiced sorrow for not having children, a choice motivated by her dedication to her business and the demands of her demanding life. The sacrifices also extended to her wish to become a mother. Stevie has persevered in the face of these difficulties, incorporating her experiences into her songs and utilizing her position to uplift others. She is a lasting figure of tenacity in the music business because of her fortitude and determination, which have allowed her to negotiate celebrity challenges while maintaining her artistic integrity successfully. Relationships that influenced her life, love, and loss. Like her music, Stevie Nicks' relationships have been intricate and intriguing, profoundly influencing her life. She started dating Lindsey Buckingham in high school, and their relationship was turbulent and a creative collaboration. Just before they joined Fleetwood Mac, their split gave their songs more emotional depth, with Go Your Way and other songs expressing their hardships. Stevie's connections with other well-known people such as Joe Walsh and Eagles player Don Henley further impacted her career and personal life. Although their relationship ended because of the difficulties of their busy lives, she's called her relationship with Joe Walsh one of the greatest loves of her life. To provide Robin Anderson's kids stability, Stevie married Kim Anderson in 1983. Kim Anderson was the widow of her closest friend, Robin Anderson. However, Stevie discovered that the marriage was motivated more by pain than by love, and it ended after only 3 months. Despite these obstacles, Stevie has continued to be transparent about her experiences, drawing on them as inspiration for her songs. Fans have found her to be a relevant and lasting figure because of her ability to express love and sadness via her songs. Even though they're often challenging, Stevie's relationships have been essential to her personal and artistic development. The historic achievement of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because of her unmatched accomplishments in the music business, Stevie Nicks became the first woman to be inducted twice into the esteemed Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. As a member of Fleetwood Mac, she was initially inducted in 1998 in recognition of the band's revolutionary influence on rock music and its widespread popularity with songs like Rumors. Stevie's composition and vocal talents were crucial to Fleetwood Mac's success, and their induction honored their heritage as one of the all-time best-selling bands. In 2019, more than 20 years later, Stevie was inducted a second time, this time as a solo performer. This accomplishment demonstrated her unique artistic abilities and the lasting impact of her solo career, which started in 1981 with the publication of Belladonna. The record's popularity, including singles like Edge of 17 and Leather and Lace, made Stevie powerful. She pioneered women in rock music. Her solo induction was a historic occasion. Stevie's 2 inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame highlight her adaptability, tenacity, and capacity to engage audiences of all ages. Her legacy is historic and everlasting, as it confirms her position as a cultural icon whose music and presence continue to influence artists and admirers across the globe. The Rock Queen, juggling band, and solo careers. Stevie Nicks' flexibility and commitment as an artist are shown by her ability to manage her solo career and participation in Fleetwood Mac. With the release of Rumors in 1977, one of the best-selling albums of all time, Stevie's ethereal voice and poetic lyrics helped catapult Fleetwood Mac to international fame. Stevie joined the band in 1975 and soon became a defining presence, contributing iconic songs like Rhiannon, Landslide, and Dreams. The album Belladonna marked the beginning of Stevie's solo career in 1981 because she felt the need to develop her identity as an artist despite the band's popularity. With singles like Edge of 17 and Leather and Lace, the album was a critical and financial success, establishing Stevie as a solo icon. Stevie had to manage the difficulties of recording, touring, and continuing to produce original material for both projects. So juggling these two demanding occupations was no small task. Her versatility and dedication to her art were shown by her ability to switch between Fleetwood Mac and her solo work easily. Through her two careers, Stevie was able to reach a wider audience and experiment with a variety of musical genres, solidifying her reputation as the Queen of Rock. Her lasting impact motivates fans and musicians, demonstrating her unmatched talent and tenacity. Fashion as a statement. The witchy aesthetic. Like her music, Stevie Nicks' style is famous, evoking a witchy look that's come to represent her as the Queen of Rock. Her distinctive look, which includes wide-brimmed hats, platform boots, shawls, and flowing chiffon skirts, embodies her uniqueness and creative enthusiasm. Stevie's clothing draws inspiration from various bohemian, Victorian, and mystical styles and is a timeless, ethereal visual representation of her music. Stevie created an identity that distinguished her in the male-dominated rock industry by adopting this look, which was more than a fashion statement. Her image was further formed by her preoccupation with mythology and the paranormal, and songs like Rhiannon and Sisters of the Moon emphasized her magical charm. With her theatrical twirls and shawl-draped moves, Stevie's stage presence enthralled spectators and cemented her place as a cultural icon. Numerous admirers and artists have been influenced by her style over the years, which has solidified her reputation as a pioneer and influenced fashion trends. Despite changing trends, Stevie has maintained her image, demonstrating that genuineness is always in vogue. She is a timeless character in music and fashion history because of her witchy style, which is more than simply clothes. It represents her inventiveness, tenacity, and defiance of social norms. A generation's voice, the cultural influence of Stevie. Stevie Nicks has solidified her status as a cultural icon, and her impact goes far beyond just her music. Stevie's ethereal voice, literary lyrics, and mystical character have struck a chord with audiences of all ages, both as a solo artist and as a member of Fleetwood Mac. She's become a voice for those navigating love, loss, and self-discovery because of her ability to express unfiltered emotion via her songs. Due to their everlasting appeal, songs like Landslide, Dreams, and Edge of 17 have become anthems and are still relevant decades after they were first released. Beyond only her music, Stevie's influence extends to her clothes, which have made her a style legend by inspiring innumerable fans and artists with her flowing skirts, shawls, and platform boots. Because of her genuineness and defiance of business conventions, she's become a role model, especially for female musicians who see her as a pioneer who broke down boundaries in a male-dominated field. Contemporary musicians such as Florence Welch, Haim, and Miley Cyrus have acknowledged Stevie as a significant inspiration in their work. Beyond her creative accomplishments, Stevie has gained admirers due to her candor about her battles with addiction and her support of perseverance and self-care. As of 2025, Stevie Nicks continues to inspire and motivate people with her legacy, symbolizing power, originality, and creativity. The power of lyrics. Her songs' backstories. Listeners have always been able to see Stevie Nicks' soul through her words, which provide insight into her feelings, experiences, and creativity. She's one of the most well-known songwriters of her time because of her talent for writing lyrical and moving songs. Composed at a time of introspection, songs like Landslide, which speak to themes of adaptability and resiliency, strike a profound chord with listeners of all ages. Stevie's love of storytelling and her ability to incorporate mystical aspects into her music is fully displayed in Rhiannon, inspired by a legendary Welsh character. The band's inner struggle during the production of Rumours is reflected in Fleetwood Mac's lone #1 song in the United States, Dreams, which transforms personal grief into universal beauty. Tracks like Edge of 17 that explore themes of grief and self-discovery are among Stevie's equally captivating solo work. Her music is intimate and sympathetic since her lyrics often draw from her experiences, fusing personal tales with universal themes. A single line or tune that develops into a whole story is often the starting point of Stevie's very intuitive songwriting process. Together with her ethereally lovely voice, her words evoke strong feelings in listeners. Stevie's words are still relevant and inspirational in 2025, demonstrating the ageless nature of her narrative and the timeless quality of her compositions. The drama of Fleetwood Mac, handling band dynamics. The history of Fleetwood Mac is as much about the band's music as it is about the internal conflicts that arose. The band's watershed moment was when Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joined Fleetwood Mac in 1975. However, since personal connections often affected professional dynamics, the band's success was not without its difficulties. Shortly before they joined Fleetwood Mac, Stevie and Lindsey's romance ended, but they kept working together writing classic songs that often captured their inner turmoil. Tensions among band members were extremely high during the 1977 recording of Rumours because of breakups, adultery, and personal issues. Despite the mayhem, the record became a masterpiece, demonstrating the band's capacity to transform their turbulence into beauty. Stevie was often at the core of Fleetwood Mac's band changes, reunions, and estrangement periods. Although she continued to contribute to Fleetwood Mac's projects, her choice to pursue a solo career in 1981 introduced still another level of complication to the dynamics within the band. The band's relationships have changed over the last several years, with reunions and newfound collaborations. As of 2025, Fleetwood Mac's legacy is still evidence of their tenacity and capacity to handle the difficulties of notoriety and artistic endeavors, demonstrating that their music is not limited by the tragedy that influenced their path. Breaking barriers in rock. A woman in a man's world. For many years, Stevie Nicks has been hailed as a pioneer who broke boundaries in the male-dominated rock music industry. The rock business was dominated by male musicians when she joined Fleetwood Mac in 1975, and few women were as well-known or influential. Stevie immediately distinguished herself with her angelic voice, beautiful lyricism, and captivating stage presence, demonstrating that women could be just as respected and admired as men. Her contributions to Fleetwood Mac, which included well-known songs like Rhiannon and Dreams, demonstrated her talent for writing intensely personal and broadly relatable music. With her 1991 first album Belladonna, which peaked at #1 on the Billboard charts and solidified Stevie's reputation as a formidable solo performer, she continued to push the boundaries. Beyond only her music, Stevie's distinct look and ethereal demeanor subverted conventional ideas of rock femininity and encouraged many women to value their uniqueness. She's often discussed her difficulties as a woman in the field, including dealing with celebrity demands and being undervalued. Generations of female artists have looked up to Stevie because of her tenacity and resolve to face these challenges. Her reputation as a trailblazer who reshaped the position of women in rock is still as strong and motivational in 2025. The spirit of resilience. Overcoming obstacles in life. Stevie Nicks' incredible fortitude in facing many adversities has shaped her life and profession. Stevie has continuously shown an unshakable attitude that has inspired admirers all across the globe, whether it's managing the demands of stardom or conquering personal challenges. One of the most trying times in her life was her fight with addiction, which started in the 1980s when she was at the height of fame. In 1986, Stevie went to the Betty Ford Center for treatment and was able to kick her cocaine addiction. Her road to recovery was not over, however, as she subsequently struggled with Klonopin. This prescription drug caused her to become dependent for years before she sought treatment once again. Beyond her struggles, Stevie has shown her courage and tenacity as a pioneer for women in rock by overcoming the difficulties of maintaining her creative integrity in a male-dominated field. She and her audience have found solace and connection in her ability to transform her experiences into song. Songs like Landslide and Dreams speak to listeners deeply because they show her self-reflection and tenacity. As of 2025, Stevie's lasting impact continues to motivate others by demonstrating that, despite hardship, success can be achieved through ingenuity and tenacity. Her tale is proof of the strength and resiliency of the human spirit. The Legacy of Rumors, an everlasting record. Released in 1977, Fleetwood Mac's Rumors is still regarded as one of the most renowned albums in music history, and its influence will last until 2025. The record, which resulted from the band's inner agony and personal struggles, turned suffering into art and resonated with listeners all around the globe. Rumors, which included well-known songs like Dreams, Go Your Way, The Chain, and Don't Stop, encapsulated the intricacies of love, disappointment, and perseverance. Stevie Nicks' contributions, especially the ethereal Dreams, demonstrated her capacity to transform unfiltered emotion into music that's relevant to all listeners. The record's creation, distinguished by its creative methods and painstaking attention to detail, raised the bar for the sector. Rumors sold over 40 million copies worldwide and won a Grammy Award for Album of the Year in 1978, marking an unparalleled financial success. Its impact went beyond its original publication. For decades, it was included in movies, television shows, and cultural events, influencing many artists. With its ageless themes and melodies, Rumors is still hailed as a classic in 2025. The album's ongoing appeal shows Fleetwood Mac's skill and the ability of music to bridge generations. Rumors, one of the best-selling albums ever, cemented its status as a musical and cultural icon. Its legacy is vivid now as it was over 50 years ago. Stevie Nicks' impact, motivating contemporary artists. Her impact on contemporary musicians shows Stevie Nicks' lasting legacy as a music business pioneer. A new generation of artists has been influenced by her mystical attitude, literary lyrics, and ethereal voice. They respect her sincerity and originality. Stevie has been widely acknowledged as a big inspiration by artists such as Florence Welch of Florence and the Machines, whose ethereal approach and dramatic performances mimic Stevie's legendary stage presence. Stevie's ability to handle solo and band careers with poise has also influenced Haim, the sister group famed for rock and pop fusion. Another modern musician, Miley Cyrus, has honored Stevie by infusing her influence into her work and covering her songs. In addition to directly influencing specific musicians, Stevie's contributions to rock have opened doors for women in music by dismantling obstacles and questioning accepted conventions. Her classic songs, including Landslide and Edge of 17, never go out of style, demonstrating that her talent is ageless. Fans and artists alike have come to love Stevie because of her candor about her setbacks and victories, which represents her fortitude and inventiveness. In 2025, her impact is still as strong as ever, encouraging contemporary artists to embrace their uniqueness and push the limits of their medium. The later years, examining a legendary career. Stevie Nicks' reputation as a rock and roll legend is as strong as ever as she approaches the latter years of her remarkable career. Now in her mid-70s, Stevie never fails to wow audiences with her classic songs and captivating stage presence. Throughout her 5-decade career, she's achieved several firsts, such as being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. First as a member of Fleetwood Mac in 1998, and again as a solo artist in 2019. When considering her illustrious career, Stevie often highlights the value of resiliency and genuineness, traits that have characterized her work as an artist. Stevie has inspired generations of artists and fans by staying loyal to her artistic vision despite obstacles like personal hardships and celebrity demands. She has embraced her role as an advocate and mentor in recent years, utilizing her position to help up-and-coming artists and promote topics that are important to her. Her impact is timeless, as seen by the enduring resonance of her music, which is marked by ethereal melodies and exquisite lyrics. As of 2025, Stevie's lasting influence on popular culture and the music business is acknowledged globally, securing her place as a living icon whose contributions will be valued for many years. Health issues. The cost of living in the public eye. Although Stevie Nicks' life in the limelight has been filled with notable accomplishments, it's also been molded by serious health issues. Her physical and mental health suffered as a result of the constant pressures of recording, traveling, and maintaining her reputation as a rock star. Stevie battled addiction throughout the 1980s when she was at the height of her stardom, especially to cocaine, which she has publicly acknowledged as a coping method for the demands of her job. She went to the Betty Ford Center for treatment in 1986 and was able to kick her addiction. But Stevie's health issues didn't stop there. She subsequently struggled with Klonopin, a prescription drug, which caused her to become dependent on it for years before she sought treatment once again. The physical strain of a rigorous lifestyle, which included lengthy tours and late-night concerts, exacerbated the consequences of these difficulties. Stevie's shown incredible fortitude in the face of these obstacles, utilizing her story to promote healing and self-care. Her candor regarding her health issues has motivated followers and brought attention to how important it is to treat addiction and mental health issues. As of 2025, Stevie still reflects on her lessons from these setbacks, highlighting the need for self-preservation and balance in the quest for creative greatness. Her experience serves as an example of the fortitude needed to deal with the challenges of celebrity. Life at 76. The silent resilience. Stevie Nicks is 76 years old and still exemplifies the fortitude and inventiveness that have characterized her remarkable career. Stevie, one of the most recognizable names in rock music, has captivated listeners with her ethereal voice, lyrical lyrics, and mystical presence for more than 50 years. Stevie continues to symbolize strength and tenacity despite her hardships, including personal and public demands. She's embraced her role as an advocate and mentor in recent years, utilizing her position to help up-and-coming artists and promote topics that are important to her. Her thoughts on her life and profession demonstrate a strong appreciation for her experiences and a dedication to being faithful to her creative vision. Fans of all ages continue to enjoy Stevie's music, showing the timeless nature of her impact. She's still involved in the music business as of 2025, performing and producing with the same fervor that's always characterized her work. Her modest resilience is shown by her ability to handle celebrity challenges without sacrificing her authenticity. In addition to her accomplishments, Stevie Nicks leaves a legacy of inspiration, demonstrating that age is not a hindrance to influence and innovation. Stevie Nicks' magic, an everlasting icon. Stevie Nicks' unmatched creativity and impact are shown by her lasting reputation as a timeless figure in the music business. With her ethereal voice, creative lyrics, and mystical presence, Stevie has enthralled audiences for over 50 years. With her contributions to Fleetwood Mac, which includes hits like Rhiannon, Dreams, and Landslide, the band's sound was defined, and their position in rock history was cemented. Stevie's 1981 solo debut album, Belladonna, demonstrated her independence with hits like Edge of 17 and Leather and Lace. Her introspective songwriting and distinctive fusion of pop, rock, and folk elements have struck a chord with listeners of all ages. In addition to her music, Stevie has become a cultural icon because of her stage appearance and dress sense, which has inspired many fans and artists. Her uniqueness and inventiveness are shown in her witchy style, which is defined by flowing gowns and shawls. Stevie's fortitude and genuineness have endured in the face of personal and professional adversity. By 2025, her music will remain as relevant and robust as ever, and her influence will motivate contemporary musicians. Stevie Nicks' reputation as one of the most recognizable and adored artists in music history is cemented by her capacity to transcend time and emotionally engage listeners. Rock's poet, her everlasting lyrics. Her ability to turn personal experiences and feelings into widely applicable songs has made Stevie Nicks a respected figure in the music business. Her lyrics have long been hailed as some of rock music's most lyrical and evocative, giving her the moniker the Poet of Rock. Songs like Landslide, composed at a time of reflection, delve deeply into themes of change and resiliency, striking a chord with listeners of all ages. Rhiannon, which draws inspiration from Welsh mythology, demonstrates Stevie's love of creating stories and her ability to incorporate mystical themes into her songs. Meanwhile, the band's inner struggle during the making of Rumors is reflected in Fleetwood Mac's lone #1 hit in the United States, Dreams, which transforms grief into everlasting beauty. Stevie's solo work, which explores the themes of empowerment, self-discovery, and grief, includes songs like Edge of 17, further demonstrating her lyricist skill. She can emotionally connect with listeners via her songwriting process, which is sometimes characterized as intuitive and very intimate. Stevie's songs include narratives, introspection, and manifestations of her viewpoint. They're more than words placed on music. Her position as one of the best rock composers and a real poet whose words endure is cemented by the fact that, as of 2025, her timeless lyrics still inspire and resound. The Reunion of Fleetwood Mac, rekindling old fires. Reunions with Fleetwood Mac have always been highly anticipated and emotionally charged, demonstrating the band members' unwavering connection despite years of personal and professional hardship. The alchemy that made Fleetwood Mac a worldwide sensation was reignited with the band's most recent reunion, which took place in 2025 and brought together Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, Mick Fleetwood, Christine McVie, and John McVie. Although they have a history of interpersonal turmoil, such as breakups and creative disagreements, their reunions have continuously shown that they can put aside their previous disputes for the sake of their music and fans. The band's electric performances throughout the reunion tours, which revived hits like Rhiannon, The Chain, and Dreams, remind fans of their unmatched connection. Frequently regarded as the band's soulmate, Stevie Nicks has shown her appreciation at these occasions, highlighting the significance of her shared past and the music that unites them today. The reunions also demonstrate the band's tenacity and dedication to its heritage, demonstrating that distance and time cannot lessen the impact of their work. Fleetwood Mac is one of the most legendary bands in rock history, and their reunions continue to inspire and delight audiences all around the globe, even as they work through the difficulties of their relationships. The personal side of Stevie, the woman behind the legend. Known for her mysterious appearance and ethereal voice, Stevie Nicks has a side that shows the complexity and depth of her legendary stature. Stevie was born Stephanie Lynn Nicks in Phoenix, Arizona, on May 26, 1948. Her grandpa exposed her to music at an early age, and her close-knit family influenced her early years. Even after becoming well-known with Fleetwood Mac and having a prosperous solo career, Stevie has always respected her privacy and often takes time out of the limelight to think and rejuvenate. Her relationships, including her well-known partnership with Lindsey Buckingham, Don Henley, and Joe Walsh, have influenced her songwriting and personal development while also serving as inspiration and difficulty. A moving period in Stevie's life that highlighted her strong sense of devotion and compassion was her short marriage to Kim Anderson in 1983, which followed the death of her closest friend Robin. In addition to her music, Stevie is a strong supporter of women's rights and has used her position to campaign for topics that are important to her, such as mental health awareness and animal rights. By demonstrating that there is a lady of extraordinary power, inventiveness, and humanity behind the mythology, Stevie continues to inspire as of 2025 with her genuineness and tenacity. She is a lasting symbol in music and life because her journey enriches her legacy. Stevie's future vision, the eternal dreamer. Even in 2025, at 76, Stevie Nicks is still a visionary artist whose visions continue to influence her path. Stevie, well known for her ethereal voice and beautiful lyrics, has always been a dreamer who incorporates her dreams and fantasies into her songs. Stevie stresses the need to adhere to her creative vision and sees fresh chances for innovation as she considers her illustrious career. Her mentorship of up-and-coming musicians demonstrates her commitment to fostering the next wave of musicians and guarantees that her legacy will surpass her creations. Stevie's plans include investigating novel approaches to engage her audience, such as small-scale shows, joint ventures, or brand new music that speaks to current issues. Stevie's unrelenting optimism and tenacity inspire fans and artists alike in the face of adversity. Her lasting impact is shown by her ability to adjust to the changing music business without losing her identity. As of 2025, Stevie still has enormous dreams, demonstrating that influence and inventiveness are not limited by age. Her outlook on the future reflects her dedication to making a significant impact on the world and her faith in the transformational potential of music. Stevie Nicks' path as the everlasting dreamer is a testament to her creativity, fortitude, and limitless creativity. At 76, Stevie Nicks, a life of triumph and misfortune. Stevie Nicks, who is 76 years old, is a living example of the highs and lows of a life in the limelight. Her career, which was filled with both significant setbacks and incredible victories, has cemented her place as one of the most recognizable personalities in rock history. Stevie's contributions to music have been nothing short of legendary, from her iconic solo career to her explosive ascension with Fleetwood Mac in the 1970s. In addition to defining her career, albums like Rumors and Belladonna were cultural icons that spoke to listeners of all ages. Her journey hasn't been without difficulties either. Stevie's been candid about her struggles with addiction, including her 1980s cocaine addiction rehabilitation and the subsequent struggles with pharmaceutical drugs. These difficulties, together with the demands of celebrity and the intricacies of interpersonal relationships, have made her a resilient and genuine person. Stevie's unrelenting commitment to her work and her capacity to establish a strong connection with her audience continues to inspire despite these challenges. She is still involved in the music business as of 2025, and her concerts and guidance of up-and-coming musicians demonstrate her unwavering enthusiasm. The story of Stevie Nicks' life is a moving fusion of sorrow and success, highlighting the strength of tenacity and the long-lasting influence of her artistic abilities. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon